intermediate. Now, how are we going to memorize that? IN for intermediate and IN for incomplete dominance. All right. Now, segregation is when the two homologs, the homologous chromosomes, separate during metaphase, line up metaphase 1, separate in anaphase 1, right? Now we had 50-50 odds that mom's chromosome, let's say this mom's chromosome, got in the gamete. Over here, there's 50-50 odds that you got dad's. But the idea here is that's the segregation of the chromosome splitting. Independent assortment has to do with what other thing that happens in meiosis? Crossing over and linked genes. So if the genes are on the same chromosome, they are, ladies, gentlemen, come on. If the genes are found on the same chromosome, what do we call them? Linked genes. Because they are more likely to be inherited together. Unless they're really far on the chromosome. Let's call that gene A, we'll call that one B, and we'll call this one C. Now actually, you guys hear me on this. During crossing over, they almost always cross over. So the genes on the ends and that are very far from each other get mixed up just as commonly as the genes that are on different chromosomes. But when they're closer together, they're said to be linked. Because when this one gets lined up with its homolog and it switches places, there are a lot of chances from A and C to get separated from each other and get mixed up, right? Because it can break here and here and here and here and here and all the way up to here, and these guys swap. And C got separated from whatever was on the C gene and whatever's on the A. But when they're really close, this is actually a decent distance. But if they were right next to each other, they have less chances of getting separated by the chromosome breaking there. Does that make some sense? And then the other interesting thing is we figured out like eye color and hair color were linked because we saw. Are a lot of people with blonde hair, do they have blue eyes? Do they have it more than they have brown eyes? Because they were inherited together. They got them from their parents. So those were called linked genes. And then we actually figured out they were on the same chromosome because of their patterns of inheritance, that they were linked. That was the only explanation why they were being inherited together. So they were able to make maps on the genes by watching these patterns of inheritance from linked genes. Then when we sequence the genome, they're like, oh, yep, there it is. There's the eye color gene, there's the hair color gene on the same chromosome and pretty close together. So they couldn't get separated. And that's independent assortment, that all these different genes, you have the same amount of chance of them getting mixed up and getting in the offspring. They independently assort, what that one means. And segregation is a part of that too. Okay, what else? Anything else?
Labels of the
So real quick on the flower. So is this male or female? This part right here.
Oh, okay.
Male. So it's the stamen. The part I care about the most is this part that makes the gametes. What do we call these gametes?
Pollen.
Pollen. What is this piece? The anther. Okay. This whole thing is the female part. It's called the carpel. The thing I care about the most is the ovary. What's made from the ovaries?
Eggs.
The eggs, the ova, stored right there. The stigma is the top, but the pollen gets on here, right? Goes down the tube and pollinates the eggs, and that's how plants do sexual fertilization. Could argue a little bit with the P, they do a lot of self-fertilization. It's still sexual reproduction because it went through meiosis and made these gametes. However, you could say it's asexual reproduction because it came from one parent as well. But a lot of flowers do cross-pollination, so that's true sexual reproduction.
This will be on 2 chapters where there's the 2 responses.
There's just one test.
The response.
I'm not following that.
He's talking about like the written responses are gonna be two or two.
Oh, no. One essay. You've already done the essay, you guys. What is it?
Meiosis.
Yeah, comparing mitosis and meiosis. Okay, any more questions? All right, Jacob, love it.
What?
It's Lucas.